Balal Muhammad likely defending his title next against Shavkat Rakhmonov in the spring, but after that, if the UFC wants him to fight Makhachev, he's not down to do that.
What about if he says you got to fight Islam?
I would never fight Islam because that's different. For me and him,
I know it is, right?
We train together, and when you're sweating with somebody and you're bleeding with somebody and you train with somebody like that, it's just a different relationship. Like, it wouldn't be about money for me or for him, I don't assume. So, like, I would never want to do that. And like, they've helped me so much. So for me, I would rather go up to 185 and let him just take 170 if that's the case. And like, since I've already had to fight my way up to 170 and I've been top 10 guys, like, I'm 2 fights away from being able to challenge that 185 and saying, hey, I want to be double champ. 185 wouldn't be no problem. And I train with bigger guys.
Yeah.
So I felt their strength. And a lot of, I think 185 is probably the easiest weight class besides Hamzat. Like, when you look at that main event, you're like, bro, Strickland and Duplessis suck.
Petrosky, after his win over Vieira, says he wanted to fight Bo Nickel. I'd love to get an easy check, but the fans say I can't fight cans anymore. He'll probably take on ranked opposition now that he's in the rankings at number 15. He could take on Kopylov. Pereira is fighting Abus Magomedov. Hernandez is fighting Brendan Allen next week. Paulo Costa is an option. Delidze is fighting Vittori. So out of the guys ahead of him in the rankings, Costa and Kopylov would make the most sense. Anthony Smith is taking on Ming Yang Zhang in April, but not at UFC 314 at UFC Kansas City, April 26th. That'll be Anthony Smith's final fight, and UFC is trying to send him off with a knockout. If Ming Yang Zhang wins, he will enter the rankings.
People assume Volk versus Topuria to be announced soon. Possibly UFC 314 on April 12th in Miami, Florida.
Hopefully fight announcement soon. But yeah, we in camp, been in camp for a while. We've been doing like a pre-camp camp. So now, yeah, we're pretty much in camp. Good bodies here for us already. Or even at Bang Tao, you always got good bodies here. But I've got Craig Jones here that's come with us. Joe's with us. Obviously Frank, Brad's here. So we've got a heap of good guys to work with while we're over here. I think Aljo's over here as well, so maybe we'll get some training in.
Bahamondes looking to break into the rankings if he can beat Jalen Turner, who's ranked number 13 in the lightweight division. They fight March 8th, UFC 313. Karate Combat's next show in Denver on the 28th of this month. Vergara versus Lopez is on the card. Bantamweight title fight. BKFC coming to Hollywood, Florida next month on the 27th. Tomlinson Jr. is coming off a knockout in BKFC. Only got to beat Makhachev. Adriano Martin's fighting Friday in Russia. March 1st fight night card has 3 Brazilians on it. Carolina, Almeida, Silva.
I'm supposed to be fighting this coming Saturday, February 22nd in Seattle. Unfortunately, due to sustaining an injury a couple weeks ago, I won't be participating in that card. I tried like hell to rehab this injury and get back to a baseline that would allow me to go in there and compete. Unfortunately, it's kind of plateaued, and it's not going to allow me to go in there and put on near enough performance that everybody deserves.
Also on Saturday from Saudi Arabia, you have a stacked boxing card, which is headlined by Beterbiev versus Bivol, Part 2. Co-main event is Dubois versus Parker. You also have Stevenson versus Schofield. Haley Cowan versus Nora Cornoa, UFC 315 in May in Montreal. Only other fight so far on that card is Brad Katona versus Beksat Almahan.
From Kazakhstan.
The PFL signs former UFC fighters Jake Hadley and Alexander Romanov. Hadley had a record of 3-4 in the UFC, and Alexander Romanov had a record of 7-3, and he was coming off a win over Rodrigo Nascimento in November. They're both going to be competing in the PFL tournament this year. Former Bellator champ Yaroslav Almasov wants to win this fight and then get into the UFC. Walter Walker picked up his second heel hook victory in less than 6 months over the weekend, and he handed Don'Tale Mayes his second heel hook loss in the UFC. The other one was to Cyril Gane. The Walkers celebrated the victory after the fight. They don't look that similar, but they definitely act similar.
Okay, so I love kimchis and seaweeds and like fermented foods, you know, like pickles and things like that. This is next level. I opened a can of fermented seaweed. I don't know if it's safe. Should I eat this? Probably not. Will I?
Kia Ampo, part of a parade in Peru.
Unfortunately, we didn't come out with the victory, but we know that we won the fight. It happens. In the world of fighting, it always happens. We ended up injuring our arms and hands here. Why did they give her 2 rounds ending? 1 for me, right? Ew, the first round I know I won. And third, I didn't see where I lost, because the 2 times they put me to the ground, she wasn't attacking, she wasn't doing anything, and I went, hit her more, broke her nose, her mouth. I knocked her down. It was more forceful. Though walking backwards, it doesn't. It fits because I spun around. I spun around the octagon because I was hitting more. I was getting out of her range of action. Man, I don't understand why I lost. In fact, I can't understand it. And yes, guys, now it's time to go back. Come back. I'm going to enjoy Las Vegas. Let's see what will happen Tuesday. The result of the arm, the hand.
This is a higher peak elevation tent. This tent mimics me fighting or just getting used to and acclimating to the elevation in which I'm going to be fighting at the end of next month, which is March 29th. So next is the higher peak machine. Right here. You just press this button on here, and then it obviously transfers the oxygen from higher peak. Check it out. It's definitely something that can be a game changer.